A young woman was running through the forest, desperately trying to hide from her pursuers. Her heart pounded in her chest, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she dodged trees and leaped over fallen logs. Behind her, the sound of heavy footsteps pounded on the ground, getting closer with each passing moment. She could hear their voices, their curses echoing through the trees, and she knew she couldn't outrun them forever. She stumbled and fell, scraping her palms on the rough bark of a tree. Tears streamed down her face, mixing with the dirt and grime as fear threatened to consume her. She had to keep going. She had to escape. Suddenly, she spotted a cave hidden behind a curtain of vines. With a burst of adrenaline, she pushed aside the vines, hoping they'd lead her pursuers away from her hiding place. She squeezed through the narrow entrance and found herself in a dark, dank chamber. The pursuers' footsteps faded, and she collapsed against the wall, trembling uncontrollably. Inside the cave, something unexpected awaited her. The young man sat calmly on a rock in the center of the room, seemingly unaffected by the turmoil outside. His face was serene, his eyes closed as if he were meditating. The young woman stared at him, confused and frightened. Who was he? How did he find this hidden place? And most importantly, was he friendly or foe? As the young woman stood frozen in the darkness, unsure of what to do, the man inside the cave slowly opened his eyes. He turned his head towards her, and a gentle smile spread across his face. "You seek sanctuary," he stated calmly, his voice resonating with an unexpected warmth. The young woman startled and instinctively took a step back. "Who are you?" she whispered, her voice shaking. "My name is irrelevant," the man replied. "What matters is why you have come here." The young woman hesitated, torn between fear and desperation. Finally, she poured out her story, the danger she faced, the relentless pursuit, and the hope that he might offer her protection. As she spoke, the man inside the cave listened patiently. When she finished, a thoughtful silence filled the chamber. "Your pursuers will not find you here," the man finally said, breaking the silence. "This place is hidden from the world." Reassured, the young woman felt a wave of relief wash over her. But her gratitude was short-lived. As the hours passed, a sense of unease began to creep upon her. Who was this man? Why was he hiding in this cave? What were his intentions? She tried to strike up conversation, hoping to learn more about him, but he seemed reluctant to share much about himself. He spoke cryptically, his words laden with symbolism and metaphor. Confused and unsettled, the young woman started to feel trapped in the cave. She missed the familiar sights and sounds of the outside world and longed for human connection. Yet here she was, stuck with a mysterious hermit who seemed more interested in riddles than in offering her comfort. The days turned into weeks, and the young woman's despair grew. The initial fear of her pursuers faded, replaced by a more profound terror, the realization that she might never escape this cave alive. She looked around the chamber, noticing things she hadn't before. Strange symbols were etched into the walls, and an unsettling stillness hung in the air. It was as if the cave itself were watching them, holding its breath, waiting for something. One evening, as the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the cave floor, the man finally broke the silence. "It is time," he said, his voice unusually grave. "Time for what?" the young woman asked, her voice trembling. "For you to leave," the man replied, standing up and walking towards the cave entrance. He paused, turning back to face her. "You have stayed long enough," he said, his eyes unreadable in the dim light. "I can protect you no longer." The young woman's heart sank. Was this really the end? Was she to return to the danger she had fled, knowing that this mysterious man would not be there to save her? Fear tightened its grip on her, threatening to consume her once again. But something inside her snapped. After weeks of captivity, she was done being afraid. She stood up, facing the man with newfound determination in her eyes. "Why are you doing this?" she demanded. "Why did you bring me here only to abandon me now?" The man hesitated, taken aback by her sudden outburst. For a moment, the only sound was the echo of her voice bouncing off the cave walls. Finally, the man spoke, his voice softer now, devoid of its earlier calmness. "I have been testing you," he admitted. "Testing me? For what?" "To see if you were worthy," he replied. "Worthy of what?" she pressed, her anger giving way to confusion. The man sighed, running a hand through his hair. "To become my apprentice," he said. "My apprentice?" The young woman echoed, unsure if she had heard correctly, as the man continued, sensing her confusion. "This cave holds ancient secrets, knowledge that could change the world. But I cannot reveal it to just anyone." He turned to her, his eyes searching hers. "You have shown courage, resilience, and a thirst for understanding. I believe you are ready." Overcome with a mixture of disbelief and excitement, the young woman could only nod, speechless at the prospect that had been presented to her. The man smiled, the first genuine smile she had seen from him. "Then it is settled," he said, extending his hand. "Will you become my apprentice? And together we shall unlock the mysteries of this place." Taking a deep breath, the young woman reached out and clasped his hand. In that instant, she knew she had made the right choice. This mysterious cave and its enigmatic guardian were no longer a prison. They were the beginning of her journey towards something extraordinary. And so began the young woman's apprenticeship. Days turned into months as she learned from her mysterious mentor. He taught her about the cave's secrets, its history, and the incredible knowledge it held. Together, they delved into ancient texts, uncovered hidden pathways, and explored chambers that had remained untouched for centuries. Throughout their explorations, the man shared his own story, revealing that he had been guarding the cave for many years, protecting its secrets from those who would misuse them. He spoke of the dangers that lay outside of a world that had changed significantly since he had first taken up his post as the cave's guardian. As the young woman immersed herself in this new world, she couldn't help but wonder about the world outside. What had become of her old life? Had her pursuers given up on finding her? Or were they still out there, searching for her, unaware that she had stumbled upon something far greater than her wildest dreams? Meanwhile, as the news of the young woman's disappearance spread, a search party was assembled to find her. Among them was a young man named Orion, a childhood friend of the missing woman. He had always admired her courage and kindness, and couldn't bear the thought of her being lost forever. Determined to find her, Orion led the search, refusing to give up hope, even as the days turned into weeks with no sign of her. One evening, while examining a map of the surrounding area, Orion noticed a peculiar cave marked in a spot that matched the description of the young woman's last known location. Hope surged through him. Could this be the place where she had disappeared to? With renewed determination, he rallied the search party and set out for the cave. As they approached, Orion felt a strange sense of foreboding wash over him. The cave seemed to exude an otherworldly aura, and the trees around it formed a natural barrier as if guarding a secret. Despite his apprehension, Orion knew he had to enter. The safety of his companion depended on it. Inside the cave, they found the young woman and her mentor, both deeply engrossed in their studies. The sight of her brought a surge of relief and joy to Orion.